honor le pido un minuto de silencio para todavía aquellas mujeres que seguimos en la lucha. No nos importa la edad, no nos importa el estatus, solo nos importaba luchar por un ideal, por los demás, por los 11 millones que en este país están sin documentos, sin papeles, asustados que vivimos perseguidos por este gobierno de turno. Eusebia, estás en cada corazón. Aquí estuviste años en casa, luchando por un ideal. Y por eso hoy día, en este día, donde queremos ser contados, donde queremos pedir justicia, basta, Donald Trump. Muchas vidas te llevas en tu hombro, en tu corazón, de gobierno malo. Eusebia, seguirás viviendo entre nosotros. En cada mujer, en cada niño, en cada niña estarás tú, Eusebia. Un minuto de silencio por ella, que nos ha dejado, pero que su espíritu, su corazón, está con nosotros. ¿Eusebia vive? ¡Sí! ¿Eusebia vive? ¡Sí! Eusebia.
We just want to translate for those that don't understand. One of our beloved community leaders, fierce leaders, has just recently passed away. She's been fighting this fight for such a long time, and Antonia has been fighting alongside with her. She's been fighting for the millions and millions of immigrants who want the right to live in this country just as everyone else. And we are taking a moment of silence for her and for those that she fought for fearlessly.
¡Hurra para Eusebia!
Es que me corté el pelo, por eso.
Saying all kinds of crazy things.
It's removed.
Yeah, just to like recycle you.
You know?
Well, no, it was earlier, like.
Acabamos de ganar en Nueva York diciendo, ustedes tienen razón, esto es claramente un acto de abuso de poder. Ojalá que la Corte Suprema de Justicia diga exactamente.
pierda o se gane esta batalla judicial, ¿cuál es el mensaje a toda la población que debe participar en el Census?
Que se haga contar. Y les voy a decir por qué es bien importante y nosotros vamos a trabajar fuertemente en esta dirección, porque sencillamente tenemos el derecho a que nos cuenten para que los beneficios de nuestros hijos sean recibidos, para que tengamos representantes.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you may be on a different TV block on the other one. If you look at it, it says TV and it says hydration. So if that's the case, then see, it's not going to work.
I know I was going to see you here. Thank you. ¿Cómo estás? Oh, looking amazing. I knew you were going to look good if you came. Hey, Jose, nice to meet you.
People all the way from Davis. No hagan la pregunta.
Went in your video. It's really higher. We can probably still get to the Thank you. What line is that? I wish we could
I made some census, so I was going to start with the class that I'm in.
status and adding a citizenship question to it. It's not asking a question, it's just
Enumeration.
communities of color, and more than all of us are happy.
Are you helping us with Marshall?
Hey, I had a little idea.
Gracias, muy amable.
No es el censo, no es el
and my community.
How was your trip last week?
Flying over here, bro.
So we need a debriefing. We're out and about now. Or maybe invite him back. But I was laughing because I was like, I just give up on everybody. Like everybody who had their TVs look at this right now. Oh, we can spin. Well, I don't know. Meg was wondering, like, when they're all get up in there.
Esa es agua real. Tiene que venir azul.
Not really Miami so much. We have to go to Miami for the summer for a journalism conference that allows us to not
Esta va para el presidente.
Eso. está Donald Trump.
Se tomarán en cuenta.
Pablo, hola. No, esto no es algo real. Seguramente muchas personas van a tener acceso
amedrentadoras, y en este censo queremos que nos tomen en cuenta sin amedrentarnos, sin hacernos sentir miedo.
We have migrants coming from all over the world.
By way of listening what their needs are.
Want me to get a shot of this? You do that.
I mean, if I don't know. I haven't made up my mind.
There'll be an undercount and a malapportionment of congressional seats in states, and states like California, New York, Florida, where the migrant populations are heavy, are going to be affected and possibly even lose seats. And one person, one vote. So we all need equal representation.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. And then
Perfecto, platícanos un poco qué hace tu organización.
So Network Lobby es una organización que fue encontrada por monjas de la Iglesia Católica hace como unos 60 años.
Nuestros artistas, muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias. You inspire us, nos iluminan, mil gracias. Hello. Otra vez, muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros.
Gracias por invitarnos.
Good morning. Nos escucha. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Thank you so much. Media, thanks so much for joining us and for your patience. I really appreciate that. So again, my name is Gustavo Torres, and welcome to the Count Me In rally. We demand our communities to be counted. We are not invisible. And welcome all of you.
Muy buenos días.
Buenos días.
Estamos aquí. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Natalia Aristizabal, and I am with Make Their Own New York con Se Hace Camino Nueva York. Y vinimos desde Nueva York porque el día de hoy es muy importante. We came all the way from New York because today is really important for us. We're standing strong as an immigrant community to make sure that we take action, and we demand that there's a complete count of all of us. We want to make sure all of our families, all of our friends, all of the hard-to-count communities are being counted. And today is just one day of the many days where we had actions from Chirla in Los Angeles to Make Their Own New Jersey. We're trying to make sure that we're counted in and that the Supreme Court and everybody knows that we want to be part of this.
Y la razón es por qué estamos acá. Why we are here. Estamos acá porque queremos enviarle un mensaje a esta administración. We are here because we want to send a very strong message to this administration. we are making a great difference as an immigrants, Latinos, working class, people of color, and we are demanding to be counted, right? Hacemos una contribución extraordinaria como latinos, como inmigrantes, como trabajadores, como personas de color. Y estamos exigiendo que nos cuenten.
¡Sí!
Es por eso que el día de hoy nosotros queremos compartir con ustedes las razones por las cuales creemos que esta administración no nos quiere contar. We want to share with you why we believe, actually it's not only that we believe, we are sure why this administration don't want to count us. We know what is their agenda, and they have been very, very clear about that. In fact, in New York, the judge already gave to us the reasons. This administration don't want to count our community because they are racist. That's simple. No nos quieren contar porque son racistas. Es más, el juez en Nueva York ya nos dio la razón.
Eso.
Ya sabe por qué esta administración no nos quiere contar. So we are going to share that, all of that with you today. Thanks.
So we want to give a shout out to all of the organizations that have been making this possible, that are either here today or did side actions. Vamos a mencionar algunas de las organizaciones que están aquí hoy y que hicieron acciones hoy o en estos días. Entonces, we're going to start with the Fair Immigration Reform Movement. It's Casa in the house. We have also Make the Road New York, the New York Immigration Coalition, the Advancement Project, the Black Alliance for Immigrant Justice, BAJI, the Church World Service, the Center for Popular Democracy, the Coalition of Human Rights of Los Angeles, CHIRLA, Common Cause, Daily Cause, DMV Sanctuary Segregation Network, Faith in Action, Faith in Public Life, LULAC, Make the Road Pennsylvania, Make the Road New Jersey, Mi Familia Vota, the National Immigration Law Center, the New American Leaders, the National Partnership for New Americans, Next Day Better, the New York Counts 2020, Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Siren, Service Employees International Union, Southeast Resource Action Center, the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and we know many, many more groups. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
And as you see, we are united.
Yes, we are.
It's an extraordinary movement. Y como pueden ver, estamos unidos. Es un movimiento extraordinario. And you know why? Because we know the government-owned analysis indicate that if the citizenship question is included, at least 6.5 million people won't respond to the census. ¿Saben por qué estamos unidos? Porque el mismo análisis del gobierno dice que si se incluye la pregunta de ciudadanía, hasta cerca de 6.5 millones de nuestros hermanos y hermanas no van a ser contados. So that is the reason why we are here. That is the reason why it's so very, very important that this question is going to be eliminated. Because not only that people are not going to be counted, but as you know, the census is used to make sure that we have representation right there in the house, as well as for the benefit for our families. So it's so very, very important, and that is the reason why we are united. Estamos unidos porque sabemos que el censo es vital para nuestra comunidad. Primero, porque es utilizado para asegurarnos que tenemos representación allá en la Cámara de Representantes. Y segundo, porque los fondos son destinados para los beneficios de nuestra comunidad. Así pues, de que tenemos el día de hoy líderes extraordinarios. So today we have extraordinary leaders, and I'm going to start it with one great leader in our community from El Salvador, desde El Salvador. She's my sister. Es mi hermana. Zulma Arias. Let's go and welcome Zulma. Zulma is the acting director of the Fair Immigration Reform Movement at the Community Change. For 4 years previously, she was the executive director of Sunflower Community Action in Kansas, where she fought for our community. So let's go and welcome Zulma. Zulma, bienvenida. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Gracias. Once again, my name is Zulma Arias with Community Change and the Fair Immigration Reform Movement. I'm a proud immigrant from El Salvador, orgullosamente de El Salvador. I grew up in this country and raised my family here. I have dedicated my entire life, almost my entire life, to fighting for the rights of immigrants like me and other people of color. Last year, the Trump administration made the decision to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census. Like most of the decisions this administration takes, it was irrational, it was reckless, and racially motivated. We know this question is a political move that will jeopardize the future of my community, communities of color, immigrants and refugees. An entire generation could be left without vital resources to fully thrive. The census matters because it's used to make decisions about schools, infrastructures, but most importantly, the census also matters because it determines congressional representation, as Gustavo was saying. We saw what happened last November, the impact our communities had on the election. The Firm Action Network, which includes 44 organizations in 32 states, including the organizations represented here today, engaged millions of immigrants and pro-immigrant voters to make their voices heard. And while our victories weren't perfect and we have a lot of work to do, they were incredible. We showed and displayed our power. We voted and we flipped dozens of congressional districts and state houses. We elected the most progressive and diverse Congress in history. We did that. We did that. That is why we count. And now they want to silence us. But here we are, once again, doing what we do best, showing up to demand better. Our communities matter. Our voices will be heard. We demand better. We refuse to be erased. We refuse to be silenced. So are you with me? Yes. Can you say, count me in? Count me in. 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 Thank you.
Thank you so much. Zulma, muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. Vamos a utilizar nuestro inglesazo ahorita, ¿listo? Todos. Let's go and do it. So cuando yo diga, what do we want? You say a complete count. Y cuando yo diga, when do we want it? You say now. Okay, vamos a practicar. ¿Listo? What do we want? A complete count. When do we want it? Now. Oh my God, you are amazing. Let's go one more time. What do we want? A complete count. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? What do we want it? Now. ¿Se puede? Sí, se puede.
Ahora vamos a tratar eso en español. ¿Qué queremos? Vamos a contestar un censo completo y justo. Y después cuando pregunte cuándo lo queremos. Exacto. Bien. ¿Qué queremos? Un censo completo y ¿Cuándo lo queremos?
Eso.
So, ustedes saben que nuestros niños son la prioridad, ¿verdad? Our kids is the priority. So I want to ask a los padres si les permiten que nuestros niños se sienten aquí al frente. Can you please bring the kids right here in front, if you don't mind? Todos los niños, por favor, incluida la niña grandecita también. You also, please. Todos los niños, can you join right here? Siéntense ahí, please, the little ones. Thank you so much. Come here.
Traigan los niños. Jennifer, the baby. The babies, traigan los babies.
The little ones here, please. Thank you. There you go.
It's important that our young people, the children are in the front because actually, I don't know if you know this, but they're one of the population that's really hard to count. So it's important that they're here, that we're seeing them, and this is why we're here today, because we want to make sure that from the tiniest over here to the oldest here, regardless what our immigration status is, that we're all being counted. Es muy importante que los chiquitos estén acá con nosotros. Ellos una de las poblaciones que son muy difíciles de contar y es importante que desde el más chiquito hasta el mayor aquí, todos sin importar nuestro estatus migratorio, seamos contados.
Sí, así es, así es. Entonces, vamos a decir otra de nuestras consignas. Y la pregunta es, when we say citizenship question, we say no citizenship for immigrant, yes. Go.
Otra vez, si preguntamos citizenship question, la respuesta es
no.
Y si preguntamos citizenship for immigrants, la respuesta es
yes.
Citizenship question?
No.
Citizenship for immigrants?
Yes.
Citizenship question?
No.
Citizenship for immigrants?
Yes. So, CASA and our partners are demanding that the Trump administration remove the citizenship question from the 2020 census. We have joined so many organizations, including the Washington Lawyers Committee and the American Civil Rights Liberty Union, to make our voice heard at the Supreme Court. We believe that is so essential for our communities and our people of color that question is eliminated, because we know that this question is going to impact very negatively our communities. In fact, many of our members are right over there inside. They take the time because they know how important is that question. They went to New York, and right over there, they share with the judge how critical it is for them and their families those questions. That is the reason why we are here in support of them. Again, in support of the families who are day labor, domestic workers, tenants. You are going to see them when they come from there, and they are going to share with all of us why they are fighting against this question. Por eso es que nosotros estamos acá. Porque sabemos la importancia de que esa palabra, esa pregunta se elimine. Porque nosotros sabemos perfectamente que está discriminando a nuestras familias. Por eso es que este movimiento, estamos unidos. Por eso nos unimos conjuntamente con los abogados y con otras instituciones para demandar que se elimine. Nuestros hermanos y hermanas están adentro demandando que se elimine esa pregunta, pero también estuvieron en Nueva York compartiendo con el juez y sacaron el tiempo porque saben de la importancia de esta pregunta.
Cuando nosotros hicimos la demanda en Nueva York junto con nuestras organizaciones aliadas como la Coalición de Inmigrantes de Nueva York, CASA, lo que nosotros dijimos es que la pregunta de la ciudadanía estaba motivada por razones incorrectas y discriminatorias. So when Make the Road New York filed this lawsuit alongside the friends like New York Immigration Coalition, CASA, we had a core claim, and it was that the citizenship question was motivated by discriminatory animus. And so while the Trump administration has maintained the fiction that the reason for the inclusion of the citizenship question is to protect our voting rights, we know that they're doing it for other reasons, right? So however, our ACLU litigation forces the government to release the records where we were able to see some emails where Rose was adamant about reintroducing the citizenship question before the date that the DOJ requested in December 2017. The documents, these reference conversations with Stephen Bannon at the time when key White House advisor and about his nationalist who has long proposed immigration and opposed immigration in all its forms.
And Natalia, you know what happened?
What happened?
We won!
Yes, exactly. In New York, in California, and in Maryland. So today, we're really hoping that the Supreme Court hears all of our arguments and gives the same answer that the New York court gave us.
And yes, ganamos en la Corte de Nueva York y nosotros creemos, estamos convencidos que la Corte va a tomar la misma decisión que tomó el juez en Nueva York.
Entonces, sí se puede.
Y el juez dice definitivamente que si se incluye esta pregunta va a destruir todo el proceso que se hace cada 10 años para contar a nuestras familias y a nuestra comunidad. So the question is, ¿se puede?
¡Sí se puede!
No se escucha nada. ¿Se puede?
¡Sí se puede!
Yes, we can!
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 Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
Ahora voy a ser clara. El argumento de nosotros es de que la forma en que la pregunta fue hecha fue una forma ilegal, porque todas las preguntas del Census tienen que tener un proceso y esta pregunta específicamente, la de ciudadanía, no siguieron el proceso que tenían que seguir. So let me be clear. Our arguments in the courts have been that the way that the question was added is illegal because every question in the Census has to go a process. They have to have like small committees where they test the question and a whole process that was bypassed when they decided to add the citizenship question. So we're saying that they didn't follow the law, they didn't follow the procedures, and therefore this question should not be in the Census. Now, I'm going to introduce someone very dear to me. She works with us at Make the Road New York, and she's been with us for a really long time since she was a member. She migrated here to the United States from Mexico. Where's my people from Mexico? She's also one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, the original lawsuit that allowed us to win, and the lawsuit that also allowed us to come here to the Supreme Court. So I want you all to give a big, big round of applause to Yatsiri Tovar. Vamos a darle la bienvenida a Yatsiri, que es una de las demandantes.
Hi everyone. As Natalia mentioned, my name is Yatsiri Tovar, and I'm a member of Make the Road New York, I'm a member of Make the Road New York, one of the organizational plaintiffs in the Census case that the Supreme Court is hearing right now. The proposed question will affect families like mine. I'm a dreamer, my husband is a U.S. citizen, my brothers are U.S. citizens, and I also have relatives who are undocumented. And just like my family, there are hundreds and thousands of families like this across the country who, because they have different migration status in their households, they don't know how to answer the census if the citizenship question was placed. And it's also, and if the citizenship question is included in the census, it will put families like mine at risk. The census is fundamental for our democracy, and is the way that we know how many people live in each county, in each state, in each city. It also provides critical information for us that would lead to our political representation that allows us to know how many resources goes to our communities. Yet, the Trump administration is seeking to add a citizen question to the 2020 census, and this puts the whole process at risk and in jeopardy. The immigrant families across the country are at risk of of being undercounted and underrepresented, families like mine. In New York, I already live in one of the most hardest counties to count in the whole country, Bronx, New York. But now, with the attempt of the Trump administration to ask the citizenship question, more families in my neighborhood will be silenced. More families in my neighborhood will be afraid to fill out the census form. But apart from my family, from my neighborhood, the citizenship question is added to the 2020 census. Our neighbors are at risk. The political representation in Congress for states like New York and California are at risk. Resources for our schools, for our hospitals, for our housing is at risk. The voices of our youth and the voices of our children are at risk. 3 federal courts have already sided with us. And now we hope that the Supreme Court will reaffirm that decision. ¿Se puede? Sí, se puede. Okay. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Yatsiri Tobar y yo soy miembro de Se Hace Camino a Nueva York, una de las organizaciones que es los demandantes de este caso que la Corte Suprema está escuchando ahorita mismo. Esta pregunta de la ciudadanía en el censo 2020 podría afectar a familias directamente como la mía. En mi familia hay personas que son indocumentadas, hay personas que son ciudadanas y como yo también hay personas que son recipientes de DACA. ¿Cómo una familia como la mía va a poder llenar el formulario del censo? Una familia como la mía que tiene personas con diferentes estatus viviendo en un lugar pone a estas familias en riesgo. El censo es parte fundamental de nuestra democracia y de saber cuáles son los recursos que cada una de nuestras comunidades necesita. Y con la pregunta de la ciudadanía en el censo, esto nos puede perjudicar a todos, no solamente a la comunidad inmigrante. Yo ahorita vivo en Nueva York, en una de las comunidades que ya son muy difíciles de contar. Son las familias como las mías, familias de miles de personas de todo la nación están a riesgo de no ser contadas, no ser representadas, y eso es un gran peligro porque eso significa que recursos para nuestras escuelas, para nuestros hospitales y para muchas más cosas están a riesgo de no poderse tener suficientemente de fondos. Y también en estados como California y como Nueva York puede ser que podamos perder representación política. Nosotros ya tenemos la decisión de 3 cortes que han decidido con nosotros y decidido que no se debe agregar la pregunta de la ciudadanía en el censo. Y hoy estamos esperando que la Corte Suprema escuche los argumentos y al final en junio decida igual que las otras 3 cortes. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias. So now I want to welcome Nana Yampi. And let me describe to you how important it is that you know and that you hear about different communities. Because this issue is not a Latino issue or immigrant issue. This is an issue that impacts all of us as people of color, of immigrants, or African Americans, or black, or Latinos, all of us. So today is my honor to introduce to you the Executive Director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, the oldest and largest black-led social justice organization representing nearly 10 million black immigrants, refugees, and families living in the U.S. She previously served as a Budget Board Vice Chair and Managing Director. A movement attorney for the past 25 years, Nene is co-founder of the Justice Warrior for Black Lives and Human Rights Advocacy, both dedicated to fight for human rights and black liberation. Please, let's go and welcome Nana. Thank you so much for joining us.
Greetings. My name is Nana Jumphy, the Executive Director of Black Alliance for Just Immigration. A plaintiff in the first case in California that challenged the constitutionality of the citizenship question successfully, which arguments are going to be dealt with today in the Supreme Court. The administration's racist and xenophobic backdoor addition of a citizenship question threatens to increase the numbers of undercounted communities, resulting in disproportionate harm to Black immigrants and African Americans. There are approximately 4.2 million Black immigrants and roughly 10% of Black people living in the United States are foreign-born. Since 2000 alone, the number of Black immigrants living in the United States has risen 71%. Black immigrants should respond to the census, have a right to respond to the census, and help our communities get our fair share of the more than $675 billion a year in federal funds spent on schools, roads, public works, and other vital programs. The administration's push for a citizenship question is part and parcel of a clearly racist scheme of undercounting immigrants of color, including Black immigrants, to deprive us of our communities of resources and representation. In the same way that the strategies of gerrymandering and redistricting based on race suppress the electoral power of communities of color, chilling the participation of immigrants of color in the census effectively safeguards the political power of so-called white populations. Black immigrants, including what we call the hard to colonize, not the hard to count, the hard to colonize. Mixed status families and undocumented persons will be unlikely to participate in a census survey they feel sets them up to be targeted by the Department of Homeland Security. This is white supremacy in purpose and in practice. Strategic undercounting of Black people in the decennial census is a historic tool of white domination. At the Constitutional Convention, way back in 1787, the U.S. Founding Fathers determined that enslaved Africans were 3/5 of a person for the specific benefit of undercounting Black people and inflating the numbers of white people, justifying their disproportional political and socioeconomic power. This new citizenship question is designed for the same racist goal and effect. Baji is committed to making sure that Black immigrants are counted in the 2020 census and that this administration's efforts to erase us fail. We successfully sued the administration in California to stop this citizenship question and this attack to dilute our political, social, and economic power. We are educating and organizing our communities about the importance of the census and providing the support needed to make sure our communities are counted. Black people, including Black immigrants, have more than earned the right to be accurately recognized, resourced, and represented in this country. And we will continue to push for a 2020 census that counts us all. Thank you.
Let's give another big applause to Nana from Baji. So, un breve resumen. Nana, I'm just going to briefly summarize it in Spanish. Un breve resumen. Ella nos contaba acerca de la población, no solamente de inmigrantes negros, pero de la comunidad negra en este país, que han estado históricamente ignorados en muchas formas, pero en el census específicamente desde la historia del census. Entonces ella resalta de toda la importancia que hay en asegurarnos de que estemos contando a todas las personas, incluyendo a los inmigrantes negros o afrodescendientes y a la comunidad negra en este país. Así que palabras muy importantes. Ahora voy a ir a presentar un líder de aquí, de una de las organizaciones que lidera acá en Washington. Él está con la organización que se llama el liderazgo, la Conferencia de Liderazgo, que es una organización de derechos civiles que ha hecho trabajo muy importante y lleva mucho tiempo acá. So I'm now going to introduce to you our next speaker. Our next speaker is from the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights. I want you all to give a big round of applause to Alan Brooks LaShore, who leads the strategic communication for all the facets of the Leadership Conference. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Are we ready to fight for democracy? Yes! Are we ready to fight for civil and human rights? Yes! Are we ready to save the census? Yes! Then let them hear us inside. Count me in. 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 So I'm Alan Brooks LaShore with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Since 1950, the Leadership Conference has been on the front lines of every major civil and human rights struggle in this country, and we're proud to be here today to stand with all of you. On behalf of the civil rights community, we are proud to say loud and clear, we will not let Trump and his nationalist advisors rewrite the Constitution. We will not let them endanger the lives of immigrants and exacerbate their climate of fear. And we will not let the 2020 census include this question that is untested, unnecessary, untimely, unethical, and unwise. And racist. The Supreme Court is hearing oral argument right now on the citizenship question, crafted by anti-immigrant extremists in the Trump administration. In fact, let's call the roll of the people behind this question. Chris Kobach, Steve Bannon, Wilbur Ross, and Jeff Sessions. They sound like the four horsemen of the Trump apocalypse. And by this administration's own analysis, the citizenship question would stop approximately 6.5 million people from participating. That's what they want. And given Trump's repeated abuses of power and attacks on the rule of law, it's no surprise that they're targeting the census. We've seen this with them before. He's scheming to take over our courts. He incites hatred against judges and lawmakers. He ridicules the free press and immigrants to this country. As we speak, Trump and his allies right now are trying to dominate our democracy, from Congress to the judiciary. They think that all three branches should be in the pockets of the wealthy and the powerful. Are they right? They think the 2020 census should erase the diversity and richness of our nation. Are they right? They think they're above the law. Are they right? They are wrong. They're wrong on the Constitution. They're wrong on the law. They're wrong on the history of the census, and they're wrong about us because they don't realize that we are going to stand and fight. Yes, we are. We can restore honor to our government. We can restore honor to our people, and we can restore honor to our democracy. But it starts by demanding a fair and accurate census and by ensuring that they count all of us. Thank you.
Otro aplauso, por favor. Another applause, please.
Thank you very much. Now I want to welcome Wendy Chin from the New York Immigration Coalition. Wendy is the Senior Manager of Civic Engagement at the New York Immigration Coalition. She oversees the organization's work in civic participation, electoral reform, and good government practices. Prior to joining joined the New York Immigration Coalition when he was a community organizer at the Wignon Center for Community Action, working with Asian American youth and support the launch of the APA Voice. Winnie previously managed 2 state senate races in Queens as well, and was formerly on the board of OCA New York Advocates, chairing the Civil Rights Committee. Please welcome Winnie. Please join us.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for gathering today as the Supreme Court hears the case on a citizenship question. My name is Wendy Chin, and I am here to say, count me in. Count me in. Count me in. Count me in. There's no census without us, as that sign says. So count us in. Count us in. Count us in. Count us in. Thank you. I'm here today representing the New York Immigration Coalition, one of the main plaintiffs in the cases in New York against the Department of Commerce. And we are here to say the citizenship question is a direct attack on states like New York that is immigrant-rich in our population. And we are here to fight back. In New York, the Southern District of New York had ruled in a 300-page decision that the Department of Commerce did not follow standard procedure and that the addition of the citizenship question was untested and unfair. There's without a doubt in my mind that the inclusion of the citizenship question will deeply impact already under-resourced communities like the Latino community, the Black community, the Asian American community, and all immigrant communities across the country, and thereby affecting funding and resources to those communities for not just 1 year, but 10 years to come. The Constitution clearly states that the government should conduct a census every 10 years, and the goal is to clear that the government needs to count all people living in the United States without exception, adults, children, citizens, and non-citizens alike. No one should be excluded, and that is why we're here today to pose the citizenship question. And we firmly believe that this addition to the citizenship question in the census is unconstitutional. The citizenship question does not just affect immigrant communities' access to the census, but it also impedes on the rights of all persons in the United States from having a fair and accurate count. We will continue to be diligent and work to make sure that everyone is counted, without exception, and that all of our voices are heard. In New York, we have convened a diverse statewide coalition called New York Counts 2020, with about 200 member organizations across the state, committed to outreaching to hard-to-count communities to make sure that they are fully participating in the Census 2020. And you better believe that we will be knocking on doors, we will be calling our communities, and we will be providing them with the tools to complete the census, the first ever digital census. And we will not stop till we get a fair and accurate count. What do we want? A fair and accurate count. This is a fight for the constitutionally mandated inclusion of our communities, but also for everyone across the country who will also suffer from a lack of federal funding and representation in government if we do not get a fair and accurate Census 2020. Americans deserve a fair and accurate count. Latino Americans deserve a fair and accurate count. Asian Americans deserve a fair and accurate count. Refugee Americans deserve a fair and accurate count. Am I right? I'm just going to say a few words in Chinese. 大家好，我係代表呢個紐約移民聯盟嘅。咁我想講兩句就係呢個移民嘅公民問題咧，喺我哋呢個2020人口普查咧，係對我哋嘅選法係不合嘅。另外，我想提議每一位喺我哋呢個亞裔嘅社區，2020普查係非常之重要，同埋我好希望大家都可以參與。記住，2020普查，我哋每一位都有份去參與嘅。Thank you.
Again, what do we want? A complete count. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? A complete count. When do we want it? Now. the court. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that people here are energetic and that we're ready to welcome them. So we're going to continue to do a little bit of chanting. What do we want? A complete count. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? ¿Qué queremos? Un censo justo. ¿Cuándo lo queremos? Ahora. ¿Qué queremos? Un censo justo. ¿Cuándo lo queremos? Ahora. ¡Sí se puede! 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 Delegation coming in. ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! Vamos a darle un gran aplauso. Let's give them a big round of applause. Come in, come in. So what we're seeing is the people who are inside, our representatives, the delegation of plaintiffs and lawyers who were inside making sure we were saying our oral arguments. You're seeing members and staff from CASA, the New York Immigration Coalition, Make the Road New York, ACLU, and others. And we're really happy that they were in there. We're really happy today. It's important. We're making history. We know that there's many challenges to this census, and we know that the citizenship question is just one, so we want to make it easy for all of us to count. We are thankful for their courage and their strength, for willing to travel all the way over here, and to make sure that our voices are being counted. I'm going to say some of this in Spanish, and then I'm going to ask them to come to the podium. Entonces, estaba diciendo que las personas que están viendo, las delegaciones de personas que están aquí presentes, son individuos de la comunidad o personas que trabajan en distintas organizaciones como CASA, como se hace Camino Nueva York, como es la Coalición de Inmigrantes de Nueva York, como es el grupo que se llama por sus siglas en inglés ACLU, y muchos más que estuvieron aquí asegurándose que nuestras voces están siendo escuchadas y que se den cuenta de que la pregunta de la ciudadanía hace más difícil que nos cuenten a nosotros, a nuestras comunidades y a las comunidades difíciles de contar.
Muchísimas gracias, Natalia, muchísimas gracias. Ahora es para mí un honor compartir con ustedes y que escuchen directamente de las personas que estuvieron allá adentro en la corte, acaban de salir. Démosle un aplauso bien fuerte, por favor. Let's welcome them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your fight. Thank you so much for fight for our families and our communities. So tenemos a una de nuestras líderes, one of our great leaders, Maya Ledesma. Let's go and welcome Maya Ledesma. Desde Maryland. She's coming from Maryland. What is Maryland? She's a mom, and she also is a great leader in our community. She's in CASA's Leadership Council from Prince George County, and she's one of the persons who were right over there, inside of the court. She's going to share with you why she's fighting for justice. Va a compartir con ustedes por qué está luchando por la justicia. Démosle la bienvenida a Maya. Maya, bienvenida. George.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Maya Ledesma.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Maya Ledesma.
Estamos aquí porque queremos ser contados, pero de la manera correcta.
I'm here because it's essential that we are counted and we're counted correctly.
Y estas preguntas tan incómodas que nos quieren hacer es una forma más de segregarnos.
And these questions that they're asking is another way for us to be segregated.
Entonces nosotros queremos que si nuestros impuestos cuentan, ¿por qué nos van a contar y excluir de esta manera al hacernos la pregunta de ciudadanía?
If they're willing to take our taxes, why can't they count us accurately?
Entonces yo quiero hacerles un llamado que sigamos luchando, pero de la manera correcta y más unidos para que estas preguntas y esta segregación de esta manera no sigan continuando.
I'd like to make a call for everybody to join our fight and make sure that we're accurately counted and we don't continue these unjust segregationist laws.
No tengamos miedo y sigamos aquí.
Let's not be afraid and let's fight on.
Gracias.
¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? Yes, we can.
comunidad que estaba adentro, que nos estuvo representando, y es importante que sepamos que esto va de costa a costa. Sí, estamos en la costa este, pero también tenemos representación de la costa oeste, y así voy a llamar a una de las líderes y organizadoras de la comunidad en Los Ángeles, que está con la organización Chirla. Así que voy a pedirles a ustedes, después de que haga la presentación en inglés, que le vamos a dar un fuerte aplauso para darles la bienvenida acá al escenario. So now we're going to welcome the next speaker, who is also inside, because this is from coast to coast, East Coast represented, but we also have the West Coast in the house, and we want to call to the stage Rosa Barrientos, who's an organizer with the Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, Chirla. Let's give her a round of applause.
Let me hear it one more time! What a day to be an undocumented immigrant inside the Supreme Court of the United States of America! What a day! I went in there with a purpose, and let me tell you what my purpose is. Let me tell you about my story. In 2010, when the census first arrived at my home, I had my family filled out the census, and I remember my mother asked me, "Are you sure about this?" She was afraid that somehow doing the census, people would find out about our immigrant status. Imagine 2010, a 15-year-old helping her mother fill out the census form, and then this question was not asked. But today, you know what this administration wants to do? They want to add a census question. My mother's fear of someone finding out our legal status is the fear that our immigrant communities face today if this question goes on to the census. And I am here to say, no, that is not fair. Our communities deserve more than this. We deserve to be counted. This administration is targeting us for wanting to be counted. But you know what? We will resist. We will resist, because regardless of what happens today, we will fill out the census. And you know why we're going to fill out the census? Because we deserve everything, because we contribute to this country just as a regular American citizen. We may not have the legal status, but we want to be just as American filling out the census. Am I correct or am I wrong? Correct. So today, I want to tell everybody in there, I want to tell this whole administration, regardless of what happens today, history will remember you. History will remember those who attacked the undocumented community. And history will also remember all of us, because we are the resistance, because we are calling out this administration, because we are saying no, we will be counted. We are here, and we are here to stay. We win! Cuando peleamos, ganamos. Cuando nos cuentan, ganamos. Eso.
Otro aplauso, por favor. Let's give her another round of applause.
Muchísimas gracias, Rosa. Esas son nuestras heroínas allá dentro de la corte. That is our heroes right there inside the court. Y ahora vamos a escuchar nuestro abogado para que comparta con nosotros, our attorneys. Jonathan Topaz from the American Civil Rights Union. Please welcome Jonathan. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thanks very much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm with the ACLU. My name is Jonathan Topaz. I want to take much time. I want to thank CASA. I want to thank NYC. I want to thank Make a Road. I want to thank all the organizations that are doing the really hard and necessary work to get people to count in the census, to reach all the communities that need to be reached so that we can have an accurate census and that the communities we care about, immigrant communities of color, our neighbors, our friends, are counted. So thank you so much to all of those groups that are helping out with the census outreach efforts. We just came from inside the Supreme Court courtroom. We had a fantastic argument, and I think what we saw from inside is stuff that we've known for a long time, which is that this question, if added, is going to have caused those people are disproportionately
negativo en nuestras comunidades.
We know that the question will actually make it worse for enforcing the Voting Rights Act, which is the entire purpose of this. And we know that the Census Bureau has said that they don't want the question on the census.
Y sabemos que esa pregunta lo que hace es que la lucha por los derechos civiles sean más difícil. Y al mismo tiempo, las personas encargadas del censo han dicho que no quieren esa pregunta.
But I think more than anything what I want to say is that this question is not about Wilbur Ross, it's not about Donald Trump, it's not about the ACLU. This question is about our neighbors, it's about our loved ones, it's about our friends, and it's about making sure that our democracy works for everybody, including immigrant communities.
Y esta pregunta no es para Trump, esta pregunta no es relacionada con Trump, esta pregunta tiene que ver con nuestros vecinos, con nuestras familias, con nuestra gente y el impacto que puede tener en nuestros vecindarios.
And I just want to thank so much to everyone who's here for standing up for our democracy, standing up for the communities that we care about, and standing up to ensure that this question does not destroy all the things that we hold dear. Thank you.
Y quiero darle las gracias a todos los que están aquí por luchar por la democracia, por luchar para que esta pregunta no sea incluida por el impacto que tiene. Muchísimas gracias. Jonathan, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Bueno, ya estamos llegando hacia el final. Les comento que la abogada de nosotros que me acabo de comentar que básicamente la administración, el gobierno no está dando suficientes argumentos de por qué esta pregunta se deba de quedar. Entonces vamos a ver cuál es el resultado, pero yo estoy optimista, siempre he sido optimista y por eso luchamos, porque sabemos que nosotros tenemos el mismo derecho que cualquier otra persona de estar acá y vamos a seguir luchando y como dijo nuestra compa, cuando peleamos ganamos. Our coworker told us, who was inside too, that basically this current administration did not present enough arguments to say why the citizenship question should be there, and so I'm optimistic and I'm always hopeful. I think that's a bit of a trait of people who fight back, and because it's our right to be here just as anybody else, it's our right to be counted. We want to be counted in, and like our comrade said, when we fight, we win, and so we will continue to fight and we will continue to push back this administration because we're integral to this community and we will be counted.
Y por eso es que estamos acá. Recuerden, 3 razones fundamentales por las que estamos acá. Número 1, que se nos respeten como latinos, como inmigrantes, como personas de color, como trabajadores. Number 1, to make sure that they respect us as Latinos, immigrants, people of color, working class. Number 2, to have representation right over there in Congress. Número 2, que tengamos representación en el Congreso. And number 3, $150 billion that are going to be distributed all around the country. 850 mil millones de dólares que van a ser distribuidos en todo el país. That is the reason why we are fighting. Por eso es que estamos peleando. That is the reason why we are going to keep fighting and fighting for justice. Are you ready? ¿Estamos listos? ¡Sí! ¿Se puede? ¡Sí! ¿Se puede? ¡Sí! ¿Se puede? ¡Sí! Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
So now more than ever, it's important that all of us are coming together, that we're fighting. You do not have to be an immigrant to fight for immigrant rights. You do not have to be queer to fight for queer rights. When we fight for all of us, we win, and we will continue to push back, and we will continue to tell this administration every damn way that we can that we are here and we are here to stay.
So now, una vez más, queremos darle las gracias a todos ustedes. Thank you so much, the media, for being here. A toda nuestra comunidad, muchísimas gracias. Thanks all of you for joining us. And it's a group of organizations who really make the difference. So let's go and call one of them, one by one of them. Go ahead.
Casa!
Make the rule!
New York Immigration Coalition!
The Free Immigration Reform Movement!
The American Civil Liberties Union!
The Leadership Conference on Civil Rights and Human Rights!
The Black Alliance for Just Immigration Reform!
And so many other organizations. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much.
¡Sin papeles!
¡Si se puede!